Hello, it's Harmony Quaker here, and for this video blog, I wanted to just talk about why do we manage ourselves for other people? And what I mean by this is why would I hide my truth, ignore my feelings, quiet my voice, try to make everything okay for other people, and suffer in the midst of it? Why would I do that? Why would any of us ever do that? One of the more obvious reasons for doing this is conditioning. We learn when we're younger that having a voice of dissonance doesn't earn us the love and safety that we need. And so we abandon this truth of ours and quiet our voice to earn that safety and love from our primary caregivers. And maybe it's because they actually couldn't handle it. Maybe it's because they were just having a hard time meeting their own truth. But for whatever reason, when we learn from other people at a young age that who we are, what we feel, what we have to say isn't welcomed, we find ways to manage ourselves to feel welcome. So personally, for me, finding my voice and owning who I am without managing myself for other people is a continual process. Like, I started when I was younger, trying, and it was really messy, really clumsy, really mean, because I didn't know how to speak my truth in a way that honored myself and honored other people. So, unfortunately, I quieted my voice again because the way that I was using my voice and expressing myself still wasn't welcome, still didn't earn me the love and connection that I wanted. And when I figured out finally in my 30s how to honor the truth of my heart and speak from a place of strength and clarity, what happened was I stopped managing myself for other people and my relationships changed. In fact, my entire world changed. Nothing stayed the same in my life once I showed up for my true authentic self. And this really was the most empowering process of my life. Essentially, when I made room for myself, the universe made room for me in a whole new way. My career started growing, my workshops started filling up, my friendships became really full and loving and kind, where the people in my life really want to know my truth and are excited for my truth, and vice versa. Like, I want to hear the dissonant voice and the true impact that my presence has on others. And what this took in me was, first and foremost, my dedication to honoring my truth. Once I became so clear that it was my job, nobody else's, that it was my job to never abandon myself, then I couldn't have this experience or this thought or this feeling inside of me and not give it a voice, because that's my duty. That's all I can do. That's nobody else's job. And when I give my truth a voice, I have no control over how it lands in other people. So first I had to get really clear on that I was never going to abandon myself. And then I had to let go of any attachment of how it was going to be received. Oh, this was a big one. This was real maturity for me. And the tools that I used to do this process, the first one is called emotional attunement. So for me, sometimes I don't know exactly what I feel about a situation until days after. Once it keeps arising in me, the feeling and the thought, then I go, oh, I'm bothered by this. But in the moment, it can be really hard for me to speak for that feeling because it's hard for me to access in that moment. So what I did in the beginning was I would go back after the fact and I would say, hey, remember when this happened? Well, I know that I said that I was okay with it, but I am actually not. And then I would say how I'd feel and I would say what I'd need using the principles of nonviolent communication. And nonviolent communication became like my Bible of communication as I started navigating how to speak my truth, because I really needed a format to how to access what I feel and what I need. But I just digressed. So emotional attunement, just to backtrack. Emotional attunement actually gives me access in the moment to experience my feeling and honor it without trying to suppress it or make it go away. So before I even speak my truth, I need to know how I feel. And so once I'm aware that I have all of these thoughts about a thing that happened, it's my job to get really curious about why am I having these thoughts? So I notice the contents of my thoughts, and maybe the feeling is anger, and I go, oh, I'm feeling angry. What does anger feel like in my body? And then I attune to the experience of anger or whatever the emotion is, and I really allow myself to go into it and breathe into it, welcome it, appreciate its presence, validate it. If I'm experiencing it, then it's got to be valid for some reason. And then really just regulate and come back to myself. And that gives me the level of clarity to know how I want to speak about the thing that happened or the emotion that I have. So emotional attunement, in my opinion, is the most powerful way to honor what we're experiencing and stop listening to the conditioning of our mind, and to take our power back from the story that we have about what happened and really just allow ourselves to go deeper into experience and own our experience around what happened. And so from here, I would use, and still do, use the principles of nonviolent communication. Once I can get really objective about what happened, then I can process through and communicate how I feel, what I need, and what the solution is. And what I know today is that if I can't see a solution to something that happened, it's because I'm no longer connected to my true self. I'm stuck in my story, and I'm stuck in my ego shaping and my patterning. And that just brings me further and further from connection to other people. So I highly recommend buying the book Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg and learning how to speak your truth while also staying connected to your compassionate heart. And this is the way that you can honor yourself and stay in connection with the people around you, even when you are afraid that what you're going to say will fall on deaf ears, or might cause an argument, or might cause people to stop loving you. That might be part of the fear there. When we learn how to communicate in a way that is kind and honoring of self, it's always kind and honoring of the relationship, and it's in service of the relationship to speak our truth and to not hold on to the resentment and the experiences that happen in relationship with other people, because those are the things that get between us and others. So those are my thoughts today on why we manage ourselves for other people and how to overcome it, how to never abandon ourselves for our belief around what other people need from us, and how to stay true to the connection by honoring our own truth. So much love.